Hello. After class on Thursday, a couple of you guys came up to me and asked me to clarify the concept of creating timelines within symbols to be able to share those symbols among movies once the movies have been created. The concept is a fairly simple concept. Basically, every timeline is subcontained within a symbol. And so for that, we need to name the symbol and then dig into that symbol to be able to create the animation. So in class, we used the little graphic of the airplane, and we went ahead and added a propeller layer and animated the propeller layer. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to use the plane. I'm simply going to create two graphics within Flash, and hopefully this will clarify the concept. So during class, we went ahead and created an ActionScript file, and in this canvas, we went ahead and created or imported the airplane graphic. In our case, the airplane graphic will be played by this box. Now, as you'll notice, the box has two parts to it. It has a fill and an outline. So if I am going to select everything to make it a symbol, I need to drag a selection covering everything, and that way you guys can see that the outline and the symbol have been selected. Then I'll go to Modify and Convert to Symbol. This I will call the flying box. I'll make sure it's a movie clip, and that's all I need to change for now. I'll click OK, and now notice that it has a blue outline around it. That indicates that this is a symbol of movie clip type. Once I have done that, I need to double click on that symbol to enter it. You will notice that my breadcrumbs indicate that I am inside the flying box movie. Inside this movie, I will now create a new layer. I will double click the name of the layer and rename it Propeller. I'll hit return so that the name takes, and with that layer selected, I will go ahead and switch to the oval tool and create what was my propeller during class. Now I will switch my tool to the arrow tool, and I will double click the propeller to select both the propeller fill and its outline. So two ways to select for selecting these drawings. We could either drag a selection to select, or we could double click the fill, and that selects both the fill and the outline. This propeller drawing I will now turn into a symbol of its own. So I'll go Modify, Convert a Symbol, and this symbol I will call Propeller. Movie clip type is what I want, or I could simply choose graphic at this stage. The difference between the first one, where I choose movie clip, and this one, which is graphic, is that the graphic I can animate within a movie clip, but the graphic itself does not contain a sub timeline. So I cannot go into, once I click OK, I cannot double click on that graphic and try to animate. It will not animate. So I need to go back to my flying box movie, and now as a graphic I can animate it in the flying box timeline, and that's what I will proceed to do. I'm going to create an animation that lasts about 10 frames, let's say. So I'll select the 10th frame. Actually, I will click and drag to select both frames on both layers. So I'll click on the frame 10 and drag it down while it's still clicked to select both frames. Then I'll press F5 to extend that first frame. With that done, I'll go back to the propeller's first frame, right click, and from the flyout menu I'll choose Create Motion Tween. Now that cues that layer to be animated. So by simply putting the time marker where I need it to be, in this case let's say frame 6, I'll go ahead, select frame 6, switch my tool to the transform tool, and then I will change the shape of that oval. Then I'll go back to frame 10 and stretch it out again. And that action, because that layer had been queued for animation, will automatically create keyframes indicating change. If I drag my timeline, my time marker, I can see that that is happening. If I hit the enter key on the keyboard, I can see the animation occurring. Now, when I test this movie by hitting Control Enter or Apple Return on the Mac, I can see the movie that has been created and the animation in action. I can also see that animation while still inside the flying box movie clip by going Control, Loop Playback, and then hitting the Enter or Return key. I can still see that animation as long as I am still within the movie clip that contains the timeline. Let me hit Return again so that I stop the animation, and let me go back to Scene 1. You will notice that on Scene 1, going to Scene 1, I'm going to switch my tool to the arrow tool. Going back to Scene 1, if I hit Return, nothing happens because I am one level up from my flying box movie clip. Now this file in here, it's because I created as a movie clip, resides into my library. As you can see, it is right here. It resides inside my library. So that file is the file I can share because this file now contains the timeline which contains the animation. So if I were to create a new movie clip, a new movie altogether, a new Flash movie, and I were to say Action Script, click OK, this is my new movie, you will notice that I have Untitled 2 and Untitled 3 open. At the same time, within the libraries, I have a drop down that allows me to go back to the Untitled 2 from the Untitled 3 movie. It allows me to pull the Untitled 2 library. So I'll click on that and I'll simply drag the flying box into this timeline. Now I am inside Untitled 3, but I'm using Untitled 2 library. When I hit Apple Return or Control Enter on the PC, in Untitled 3, I see the animation. So the key here is that this movie clip has a sub-timeline. How do I get to that sub-timeline? By double-clicking the movie clip and I'll see the timeline in here. Hopefully this video helps clarify the process of how we created sub-timelines within movie clips and then how we were able to share those movie clips between different Flash movies.